Okay, so let's do top 10. Why don't I pick a different colored marker? Why don't I do that? That's fun. Pick a different colored marker, and I'll try to keep it a little straighter than part one. Writing tends to get kind of crooked. And I'm wearing my Chara jersey for this one. Thank you, Drew, for the Chara jersey. Very nice of you to get me a jersey of my favorite defenseman. Ish. He's up there. I mean, Charlie Mack, I call him my boy for a reason. McAvoy's amazing. And there's some other defensemen I really like Krug, for instance. But and some guys who are on this list. So let's get to this list. Ghost got votes for Norris this year, and rightfully so. After a rough year last year, 16-17 for Philly, 17-18 was a much better season for him. And again, I messed around a bit with 6 through 10, but it kept falling back the way I had it. So there you go, number 10. Number 9. Claude Giroux of Philly. Oh, wait. That's not gonna. Okay. Number 9. Giroux didn't. He was from Dallas, Klingberg. During the season, about midway through, I had Dallas fans asking me if they thought that Klingberg might get votes for the Norris, and I said he'd have to overcome the fact that he's never won one before, and it is really hard to move up into that stratosphere when you haven't won one. It's really easy for the voters to keep voting for the same guys. To say, okay, I voted for that guy last year. Yeah, he had a really good year this year too, so I'll vote for him again. It's the Nick Lidstrom effect, the Ray Bourque effect. It is easy to vote for the same guy over and over again. You see it with the Selke Trophy with Bergeron. Yes, Bergeron's an amazing defensive forward, but there are others who could have won it in certain years that Bergeron's won it. So I would say that Klingberg has to break through and at least get a top 3 spot so he gets more votes the year after. He wasn't able to accomplish that this year, but he did get some votes. Number 8. Now, there are people who say Burns is a forward. Burns doesn't play defense. Well, 2017-18, it wasn't exactly something that's going to be all over his resume. He's not going to be showing a lot of highlights from 17-18 saying, hey, look what I did defensively. Did you see how I was behind the other team's net? And we call that the Jordan Subban effect in it. And that's the thing. Like, Burns did have those gaffes last season, but I'm talking about best defenseman going into this year, and I'm really thinking Burns has a bounce back year. It is easy to forget the 2016-17. While everybody focuses on his offense, defensively he was sound as well. And he really is very good at matchups. He just had a very off season. And despite him having an off season, despite him not playing really, really well, San Jose still had a pretty darn good record. So I mean, you should be frightened that if he gets his game together, things could get much better for San Jose this coming season. Number 7. And if you want to find somebody who has fallen in the last year, look no further than Erik Karlsson. Now, Erik Karlsson, I have it 7th because this past season he had problems with the nagging foot injury from the year before. And until I see him at his best this season, and part of what was alarming with Karlsson this year was he's on the point on the power play, of course, because you want that shot on the point. If somebody checked him off the puck, he couldn't catch them. His foot speed was gone. So I can't justify having him higher, but at the same time, when you look at his pure offense and his ability to bounce back, he should be back to being Erik Karlsson this year. I can't justify having him down in 10th. And I debated about having Burns and or Klingberg ahead of him, and I couldn't justify it going into this year. Now, if Karlsson has another year in 18-19 like he just had in 17-18, then you could drop him probably out of the top 10 altogether. But I don't think that's going to happen. Number 6. PK Subban for Nashville. I'm not as enamored with Subban overall, the way a lot of people are. And I understand that Subban has been great for Nashville. And I'm acknowledging that by putting him at 6th and putting him ahead of Karlsson and Burns. But There were 5 defensemen I looked at, and I said, I really think these guys are better than Subban. I really think these guys defensively are better than Subban. Because at number 5 is the forgotten one. And I'm not sure how this happens all the time, but Roman Josi is a beast. Roman Josi, you need points, he can do it. You need minutes, he's your guy. He can do everything. Josi is, for me, if I was a coach, he's the defenseman I'm probably most worried about. Overall, yes, PK Subban can kind of take over a game. He can agitate your team into the ground. He can distract you from doing what you need to do. But for an all-around defenseman, I personally prefer Josi, and I've been a big Josi supporter for years. And with Subban, and then you factor in Ellis and Ekholm, Josi kind of gets forgotten because he's just one of the big 4. But to me, he's the best of the big 4. Ellis is not on the list. Ekholm is not on the list. You can go ahead and make them honorable mentions because there are so many good defensemen in the league. Lots of honorable mentions for everybody to discuss, and I'm sure that everybody else's list will be different from mine. Number 4. John Carlson had the most points of any defenseman in the league this past season. And Caps fans are right. He probably didn't get the respect for it. Caps fans are also probably right that none of us thought he was going to stay in Washington. We all expected him to be out of there. Then the salary cap being what the salary cap is, he was done as a Capital. But surprise, surprise, he's still a Capital, and he did lead the league in scoring for defensemen this past season. He has the potential to move into a top 3 spot. He has the potential right now to get a Norris, and I'll say this for this reason. Other than being a guy who's won it before, the number 2 thing that can get you a trophy is that you've won a Stanley Cup before. And it's weird. It's like they go, oh, right, yeah, didn't he look great in the finals last year? And he had just as many points this year? Yeah, he should really get nominated for Vezina. Vezina. Norris. There's that Vezina-Norris mix-up, and I have no idea why I make that mix-up. But yeah, he absolutely gets into the Norris conversation. Number 3. Talked about this guy before. Numerous times. It's why Werenski is an honorable mention, really. Because without Seth Jones, Werenski probably has this position, probably scores more points this past season than what he did. And Werenski probably bumps Manson, Niskanen. I could see McAvoy. But again, going based on this season and just going based on everything that I looked up, Seth Jones for me is number 3. It was a big coming out party for him this year, and I think it's only going to get better. He was number 4 in the voting for Norris. He was nowhere near first. So it's not like people were like, oh, they're voting him for first, and he just barely missed. He wasn't in there, but being 4th in the voting, if he has another year this coming year like he just had, he will be a Norris nominee, and to me, I think he belongs in there. Number 2, which will make it clear who number 1 is, because that's just how this works. Drew Doughty from the Los Angeles Kings is number 2. Yes, Vegas threw him off his game. Vegas knocked him out. But over an 82-game season, the guy's a beast. He can do everything, and there's a reason that the Kings locked him up for $11 billion. He's worth $11 billion. Basically, it's just, we backed up a truck here. How much money would you like us to unload off of said truck to keep you in Los Angeles? I think that's how it worked. Brink's truck backed up, maybe to his house, maybe to his bank, one or the other, and it was just bags of money handed to him, and he goes, okay, all right, we're good. That's enough bags of money. I'll stay here. And he's worth it. Which means number 1, and this really shouldn't surprise anybody, Victor Hedman has become the best defenseman in the league. And I started seeing it last year down the stretch. Last year he had a very good season, but down the stretch, my God, he almost single-handedly dragged Tampa Bay into the playoffs. His play was sensational, and he was putting in so many minutes and putting up so many points. And it was startling. Absolutely startling to see what he was doing at both ends of the ice. Hedman's the guy who gives you nightmares. Hedman's the guy who, if he ever gets hot at the right time in the playoffs, could help Tampa get over the hump into a Stanley Cup final and win said Stanley Cup final. while everybody waits on Stamkos and everybody looks at Vasilevsky as potentially being the backbone of a Stanley Cup run, I look at Hedman and say, Victor's the guy who can get it done. But there you go. My top 20. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And honorable mention to Claude Giroux of the Philadelphia Flyers. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.